Hello and welcome to Connections with Coffee, Justice for All's podcast that we've been putting together. We've had guests on, 6 previous guests, to talk a little bit about the connection that Justice for All has with this ministry partner. Today I have Kurt Franji with me from Sioux County Habitat for Humanity. And Kurt is what? Give me your title again.
Sioux County Director.
Sioux County Director. How many other counties are there?
Our affiliate serves 5.
Okay.
But all the rest of our staff is in Sioux City. I'm the only outcast in the outline area, so there's no other directors per county. It's just me, the oddball kind of that.
Okay.
It's kind of morphed into something over the years.
Sioux County is very special. It's so special they have their own director of a place.
Yeah, I guess.
Or Habitat for Humanity.
That's what's happened.
So, so Kurt Franji, I've gotten to know you a little bit in the last few years, and why don't you share, if you can, share with folks kind of where you grew up, how you got into this a little bit. Just give us some background information, some stuff that I know, but let people who listen to this show know a little bit more.
You bet. So I grew up on a farm in southeast Iowa, just outside New Sharon, Iowa, youngest of 4 kids. So after going through high school, went to Dordt College at the time for general agriculture. And so I thought, I might go back.
You're gonna run the family farm after
Go back to the family farm at some point if that door was open. But when I got to graduation, it was kind of like, well, there's really not going to be a spot for me full-time on the family farm. I would have to probably do some other job as well.
So, how many? You're the youngest of 4. You have 3 older brothers?
No, I have 2 older sisters and 1 older brother.
Oh.
But the farm is still my dad and his brother.
Okay.
And I also had a cousin on the farm at the time. So there's kind of already 3 guys there. And
that's a pretty good-sized payroll, I would think.
Yeah, just the way that farming has gone, it's less, I would say it's less labor intensive than when I was a kid.
Okay.
I miss.
You just call your dad a slacker.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that no longer are we having to haul buckets of 5-gallon buckets of feed to feed the sows.
Sure.
And it's taken less physical labor, I would say. It's a lot more automated, a lot more technology, so
that's a lot of the world.
That's a lot of the world, and so that's just another area how that's affected agriculture.
Gotcha. So you went through Dordt. We're going to do ag, but almost to the end, and then
So there, I was probably still looking for other ag jobs in the ag field, but nothing was really striking me that I really wanted to do. So I really was looking for something that was more, I'd say, service oriented, ministry oriented. I just saw my dad on the farm, not really be able to get off the farm and have relationships with people.
Hey, when you're tied into animals and things, like, you got to be there. Like,
yep.
You
got chores to do.
On you to feed them.
Yep. So that's something I wished for different. Didn't really know what that was going to be. But then literally the day before senior graduation, I get a call from Vern Tenaple, who was the development director of JFA at the time. And he just asked me, I didn't even know. I don't think I've ever met him before, but I had met Pastor Dan DeGroat before. I had at college, I'd gone on what they called PLEA trips at Dordt, so I'd gone to Mendenhall, Mississippi 2 times. I think, and so then
there was a farm down there, wasn't there?
And so for the summer between my sophomore and junior year, I went down there and I managed that farm. And that's actually probably the first time that I crossed paths with Pat Vanderpool.
Oh.
She just literally shows up on the farm one day. I have no clue who she is. She probably told me she was from Rock Valley, but that didn't mean nothing to me at the time.
No.
So, Dan probably knew me from that, I would say, because he was connected with Mendenhall Ministries a little bit. So I'm assuming that he suggested Vern give me a call.
Sure.
And then alongside of those PLEA trips, they also had to serve a day locally. So I think with my groups, I had come to JFA once and served here.
Okay.
So then
this was like what, like the early 2000s?
This would have been like 2010, 2011, I would say.
You're younger than I.
Yeah, I'm younger than you.
I knew you were younger than me, but like more than you're like 10 years younger than me.
I'm 34.
Okay, I'm 42. So
okay,
all right. I'm just trying to picture when I was at Dordt, because I also went to Dordt and you knew that, but like when I was at Dordt, and then what that looked like on, just how those sort of connections happened. I guess is what my thought is.
So then Yeah, I mean, there was nobody in my position prior to me. So how it started was Willis Alberta, I believe, was a board member of JFA and Habitat. JFA was desiring to get into more like local projects in this. So instead of just, obviously the service trips to other places, they also wanted, how can we get involved with something locally?
Yeah.
So the idea was struck, well, could JFA and Habitat partner together with getting some Habitat projects, houses started in this area?
Okay.
So Habitat ended up getting it's called the AmeriCorps program. So it's a national volunteer service program.
Okay.
So you have to apply to get these positions. So they applied for that, and then basically that's what Vern was contacting me. Would I be interested in filling that volunteer position to help start Habitat stuff again in this Sioux County? I think JFA would provide the office space, some of the logistics support.
Sure.
Habitat would pay my, be part of my stipend and dictate what I needed to do.
Okay. Was there already a Habitat in Sioux City before this?
Yeah.
So this was like the organization of getting something here.
Right. So Siouxland Habitat already would have had Sioux County as part of their service area, but literally nothing was happening here. But I should take that back. Prior to me, there was 4 Habitat houses built in Sioux County, 1 in Orange City, 1 in Rock Valley, 2 in Sioux Center, and that was all by what they called covenant communities. So just groups of volunteers, no staff, groups of volunteers that partnered with the Sioux City affiliate to probably help with like the family selection process, getting the building plans.
So like Willis, whoever's on the board for Habitat for Humanity was able to talk to them and say, hey, we want to do this.
We want to do this in Sioux County and in these communities. But it was a separate, so like Floyd Davilar, he helped build that first Habitat house in town.
Okay.
But then that group only did one house, and then they just died out. Same thing in Orange City. Harlan Venor, there's another name I'm forgetting. They were the primary organizers for that one. Did one house, nothing after that.
Okay.
Sioux Center,
they did 2.
Steve Kroll was primary one. Willis Alberta, they did 2. And then so that was all in the general, I'd say 2003 to 2006. Those 4 houses happened.
Okay.
And then nothing until I started my position. Then it kind of started up again.
When was that?
2012.
Okay.
Is when I did the first 6-month AmeriCorps term. And granted, there's no actual houses going on. It's like after 2 weeks, I wanted to quit.
I wouldn't
because I had no I had no clue what to do. Vern persuaded me to stick it out and stay on. So in essence, really, my boss was the Habitat director in Sioux City, Mark Custer.
Yep.
I didn't really get to know him much. I was primarily phone calls because, I didn't drive down there. He didn't come up here much.
Right.
So my first 6 months was probably primarily just me even learning what Habitat for Humanity is, how we work, what we do.
Yeah.
Then the next thing was just really kind of grassroots organization of, go visit pastors and just tell them, this is the little bit that I know about Habitat. Hope you would support it. So
it's a national program.
Yeah. So I went Orange City, Haywarden, Sioux Center, Hall, wherever, and then probably did some businesses, not quite as much, sharing our mission with us. And then finally, I think just as I was about my 6-month term was over, there was a little bit of traction to in Sioux Center. A house is going to potentially be donated to us. We could move it and rehab it. So that just was kind of getting organized, I would say. But my 6-month term was ending, and I'm sure it was offered to me to do another 6-month term. But then I was dating my wife now at the time, and she was in Wisconsin. So I kind of took a hiatus, went to Wisconsin for 2 months, worked on her parents' mink farm.
Mink farm. I knew it was coming.
Worked on the parents' mink farm.
Wow, that is just...
for November and December, and then we decided to both of us come back this way. And she got a job in Sioux Center, lived in Sioux Center.
Yep.
Nobody had filled my shoes, so I jumped back in. Did another 6-month AmeriCorps volunteer term.
Figure out a volunteer to come do this. Imagine that.
Right.
No.
So that's the initial how I got
that's crazy
started.
Vern to Naple. Vern, if you ever see this, bud, your legacy continues to live on. Vern was the guy in my position at JFA before I was the development director. So
those days seem really like, so even on your last one I saw, some of the video that was put together for Core and Walhoff, and some of the pictures, I'm like, wow. I know that's not that long ago, but picture of previous staff, or like when I would go along with JFA staff to some stuff in this, fun outings in Sioux Falls. I'm like, that seems like a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like 2012,
13, 14. Yeah,
I started JFA in 2015, and to me that's like coming up on 10 years, and it's like feels like it wasn't long ago, but things are a lot different.
It is very much different, a lot different.
So, all right. So we got the background from school to not farming to service work. How did you want it? So you going on PLEA was what kind of, and going to Mendenhall, is that kind of what sparked? I mean, like what did the Holy Spirit or what did God put in you that would want to work in service and be like, hey, you know what? I can do farm stuff, and I got the work ethic part of it. Having grown up on a farm, been the youngest. I'm around the longest, but. Like what was it? Was it a surf trip or what?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Probably just a combination of things. Like I still liked having hands on. So particularly with the Habitat thing, I saw it as well. It's a ministry thing where I can serve others, witness to others, but still got the hands on. Looks like it's got the hands on element where I can still be physically engaged with something.
Yep.
I suppose, just the way that the Holy Spirit led me to see. Like I don't want farming is a great occupation. Like there's still part of me that wishes I could be engaged in that somehow, for probably more for my kids' sake, to experience that and have that work ethic opportunity that I did. But I don't know. I know that my life is, I've only got one life to live, and so I want that to be used for the sake of the kingdom and to be able to have an influence in other people's lives, that they would come to know Jesus. And again, you can do that through any occupation, certainly.
The conduit is available to anybody.
The conduit's available to anybody, but I probably just still look at it as like, what's the bulk of my time going to be on? So like, I know if I lived on the farm, my bulk of my time would be spent farming and working with animals and tending the ground. There's nothing wrong with that one bit, but I probably
people are called to do that for sure.
Absolutely, and I just haven't been called to do that directly.
All right. So. No, I think that's awesome. That's awesome. I think the sooner people kind of figure out what their calling and what their mission in life can be, because certainly I think as a Christian, being a witness to people is number one. Wherever you go and whatever you're doing, if you're a Christian,
100%,
that's how it is. But it doesn't have to just be in the nonprofit world. It doesn't have to be in the for-profit world. It can be farming. It can be nursing, lawyering, the whole, all of it, right? We're on the same page that way. So so you were able to, you went 6 months, volunteer term, AmeriCorps, whatever that was, some sort of a stipend there through it, and pretty much doing development work. Like you were just out there, you're out there sort of fundraising, building relationships without really having an exact idea. When did it kind of come together? What was the first, what was the city that you first had a house together in?
So when I came back, then they were still, that house had been moved actually.
Okay.
And so then I just kind of jumped back into taking over, I guess, that part.
Overseeing the project.
Getting volunteers together, keeping contractors involved that we needed for different parts of it. I look back on that and I think, wow, that first one was kind of a disaster. It wasn't a complete train wreck. Sure. Like we got it done, and the family was blessed by it and moved in.
Kept the water out, probably.
Yeah. But I think the first few houses, I always chuckle like, wow, I bet those retired contractors thought, what is this kid doing? He doesn't have a clue. His job site's a mess, so disorganized. Does he know what he's like? So I was very blessed by a lot of gracious mentors over the years. Yeah. So even, I think even during that first 6 months when there was no project going on, I think I actually helped Floyd a fair amount build the JFA's spec house here in town.
Yep.
And then I also helped him a little bit on his own house that he built. So, in some sense, JFA got free labor out of me for their own development project, and it was a great learning experience for me.
That money got spent more than 10 years ago. So
that was good.
All good.
That was good.
Oh, all right. So you were in Sioux Center, and you came back. But you didn't have like a job description necessarily then?
My title back then was Sioux County Liaison.
Boy.
Which I later on, it's like, this is terrible, because people hear that and they think, oh, is he really permanent? Is he really sticking around here? Or
Yeah.
is he just kind of this in-between guy between Sioux
Right.
City and Sioux County? Like, so eventually I kind of asked my director, hey, can we change that? Because I think people just think,
I'm gonna be around here.
people don't take you very seriously with that title. Like, they just think like, oh, you're kind of some in-between person. Yeah. Are you really that permanent? Like, so that, and then we eventually changed it to director, because I was basically everything that was being done in the Sioux City, I was kind of overseeing it up here. So
okay, so that brings me to the next point. For folks that don't know, like, give me the rundown, because I have kind of an idea. I haven't been around you a while. Like, what is Habitat for Humanity? Like, what does the timeline kind of look like, and what do some of that entail with getting a family or getting an individual, or how does that go?
So from, I'd say, my realm of things, we have a Sioux County Habitat committee, and we try to have one person from each community on that to represent the different towns in
like Hawarden, Sioux Center, Rock Valley.
We have at the moment, I think, I want to say 8 or 9 individuals representing, 8 communities. So we don't have everything. Like, we're certainly missing a few. We could use a few more, but Hall, Alton, Orange City, even Newkirk.
Wow.
Yeah.
You get Matlock on there?
Yeah, we don't have Matlock or Chatsworth. No, that'd be great. So anyway, our committee kind of helps me decide, okay, where are we going to go next for which community, but then we have to find land. So we try to find donated land at the city. We'll donate some land somewhere. Then do the family selection process next. So we let people apply. And then there's certain income qualifications and a lot of other things. I
was going to mention that.
There's a lot of qualifications families have to meet. They have three overviews. Is they have to demonstrate a need for housing. They have to have the ability to repay Habitat's 0% interest mortgage.
Okay.
And they have to be willing to partner with Habitat by completing hours of sweat equity. That's the overview. So then go through the interview process. We have a family selection committee that interviews them.
Just
go ahead.
Back to that. How do you define need for housing?
Yep. There's a few different arms of it. I'd say what they can't own a home. Okay. So they have to be either renting or they're living in with other family members. Gotcha. My first one was actually through Family Crisis Center.
Okay.
So they have to can't own a home. What they're living in may still be, if they're renting something, may still be just structurally deficient.
Okay.
Or let's say furnace isn't always working, or drafty windows, leaks in the roof.
Sure.
So there could be just something wrong structurally, but I would say what we see the most often is more overcrowding.
Yeah, I can see that.
Too many family members, too small of a space.
2-bedroom house when they got 10 people living.
Opposite gender siblings, sharing bedrooms. Those are probably more the common things that I will get.
They would meet that qualification.
That would qualify their need for something better.
Gotcha.
Yes. Okay. So we go. Then we have a committee that interviews them. Also does a home visit to where they currently live to assess their need for better housing.
Is this what you say it is?
Correct.
Sort of
what you have on paper. We want to verify this.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
So then once they get selected, then probably during that process, I'm already visiting with contractors to line them up. And we are very blessed with a lot of Sioux County folks that donate their time and their materials. So we're super grateful for that. So once we have family selected, enough contractors kind of lined up, we'll have a groundbreaking ceremony, start the project. Initially I probably would say, it took us 10 to 12 months to do a build. Yeah. The last one we had done in about 6. Wow. So it does partly depend on what we have going on for the first 8, 9, 10 years. We only did one house at a time, basically one per year. Uh-huh. Now the past 2 years we doubled it to two houses per year.
In a calendar year.
Then this past year we really just did one. This coming year we're just doing one because we are starting another program called Home Repairs.
Okay.
So we're gonna just do one new house and then do some of these home repair projects.
Okay. How many houses total then since whenever you started there, even on the volunteer basis? The first one was first one was Sioux Center.
Yep. I always lose track of this number. We're probably at like 12, 13 in Sioux County.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and just so people understand, part of the process with Habitat for Humanity is there's no mortgage through a bank with an interest rate or any of that.
Correct. So that's one of the in essence, we're working with families that cannot qualify for conventional lending through a bank.
Right.
So they would get denied. They likely don't have a good enough credit score. They likely don't have enough to afford for a down payment for what a bank would require. Yep. So those are probably the two main factors that, again, they are not able to go to a bank. If they could, we wouldn't accept them.
Yeah,
they can go that direction. We're working with families just kind of below that. We're obviously not working with homeless people that don't have a job, and don't have income.
They have to have income.
So we're kind of this middle ground of, hey, we want to take you from
on the edge of the edge of like you having a permanent residence where there's stability
to kids have the same place to do their schoolwork. Yeah. They don't worry about, we've bounced around every year to this different house or this different rental situation.
I bet
stability is the biggest thing. That your parents aren't always having to worry about what's going to break next. Do we have enough money to save up to fix this?
So like I have kids, so it makes me think like as a child, you'd want to have a regular place to come back to, and like a part of your development when your age is probably real early, but even if it's like 4 years old through elementary school, like the core of your development and security is having, well, in theory, Lord willing, a 2-parent, home, but then also a same place to come back to where you're like not having to worry about, well, we're going to get kicked out this month and we're going to have the lights turned off this month and we're going to have the water turned, any of that. Like,
right. Totally. I think, so some people will probably say, like, I have had people say to me, why give so much or invest so much in this one family? Yeah. We're only helping one family out. And I get that, but I would say on the flip side of it, I think this has a generational impact. Because you see these families, well, if they were in the same situation growing up, well, my parents just bounced around, we just rented our whole life. Yep. So they think that's normal, and maybe they think it's okay, or maybe they don't think it's okay, but that's just what it is. That's what life is. Mm-hmm. And so I see it as, well, if we can change that generational impact where now the kids experienced, wow, we had a permanent home that was safe, that was stable, that provided a good place for our family to thrive. Yeah. If they can experience that, they think that that's normal, and just not necessarily normal, but even just the benefits and the blessings that came along with that. For sure. That hopefully they'll want to desire that, maybe seek to achieve that in a healthy manner, and they can see the value. They can see the value in it that it was for them,
along with the value of the actual property.
At 100%,
right? Yeah. Like that's just not even like the actual what you can put your hand on. Like that's like
it's even from a financial standpoint, like it's helping them
create
wealth for sure, and that's stability and long term. That's they're not. You'll have families say, I'm tired of throwing away money for rent every month. Sure, certainly, I wouldn't want to do that my whole life.
I wouldn't either, but that's a way to break that cycle, and certainly it is one family at a time, but it's still one family.
Yep. They matter.
Absolutely. So, I think that's pretty neat. That's something that having been here and been around you and with Habitat has been pretty cool. Just understanding how some of that works, because I wonder if sometimes a lot of people, I always would get it where people would be like, are you Habitat or JFA? It's kind of the same, sort of, but we're not.
No.
Not the same.
Not the same.
Not at all. We get a lot of physical resource of clothing and all that kind of stuff and furniture, but you're definitely more in the I don't know, it's like a combination of physical help but also like mentorship and understanding and relationship. That's a big time deal. So you had mentioned the other program,
it's home repairs.
That one. I couldn't think of it.
That's all right.
I knew there was something else. I was like, there was some other thing that we were going to cover.
So I would say that's maybe developed, or the idea of considering it was that, okay, how can we impact more families? Sure. Just even piggybacking off of what we were kind of saying. Yep. How can we serve more families? How can we keep families, if they do own a home, how can we keep them in their home as opposed to it deteriorating and I can't live here anymore because I can't access it or whatever. So other affiliates, there's affiliates there's 20 some affiliates in Iowa, and then I don't know how many there are in the USA, and then it's an international ministry, so there's other places, 70 countries at one point that Habitat worked in.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a you can go back all the way to the history of 1976 in Americus, Georgia, and there's a whole long story there. But so anyway, how can we serve more families? Home repairs. I suppose in some sense it was maybe a new way to challenge me too a little bit, because I've done the new house thing for how many years, and
working with new houses is so much nicer.
It is 100%. I'm remodeling my own house. I'm like, oh, this is why I like new houses so much better. So home repairs. This would serve families who own their own home.
Okay.
But need repairs made. They can't afford to do it themselves. So it'll serve still low-income families.
Do they have to meet a qualification of?
They have to be 60% or below the area median income.
Okay.
Based on family size.
Okay. Yeah.
So scale. Yeah. Yep. So since this is our first year, we're hoping to get this kicked off in the next really month or 2 months to accept applications for it. We're going to start small scale, just focus on exterior repairs.
Okay.
So not going inside somebody's home, but this might be re-roofing, re-siding, handicap accessible ramps.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they've got overgrown landscaping that's causing, maybe drainage issues or vermin issues.
Yeah. Yep.
So still, there'd be repayment. That's set up that they repay for materials only on 0% interest loan. And then we would coordinate volunteers to come help us do these projects. So our hope is that this can be really a little more scheduled than our new houses are, because when you're building a new house, let's say a church group or a business says, well, we'd love to come help you on this date or this weekend. And you're like, I really don't 100% know where I'm going to be on that specific weekend. Whereas with these, they're short-term projects, so logistically, I think we could get a house re-roofed in 2 days. So there we could more coordinate with groups that, are you interested in this type of project? All right, what weekend can we coordinate with the homeowner and with you that we're going to do this, and let's schedule this. So that was partly the thought, is how could we engage more volunteers, the community more that would like to help, but just sometimes logistically it hasn't worked in the past. So
I think roofing certainly, but if there's shrubs or if there's things, siding, things that are on the outside, like it's going to
preserve the structure so they can stay living in it. The handicap ramps so they can be accessible if somebody doesn't have that and needs that.
And doing the outside work is going to be a little less
intrusive. Skill, on the whole, probably some less than if we're going to have to go remodel a bathroom.
Remodeling a bathroom would be tough.
Correct. Less common, volunteer friendly.
So that's pretty cool. I think that's a good idea, and probably wise to start with a smaller outside thing and try not to have 18 people lined up and go, well, we're out until September, and then it's going to probably be cold, and we're not going to get to you this year. Correct. So thanks for looking. But
if we can get 2, 3, 4 done this year, I think we'll call it
probably best to start that way. So I don't have a ton of other things trying to get folks to understand that we have a relationship, and I know about Siouxland, Habitat for Humanity, and who you are, but getting folks to just be aware of what else is out in our area and in and around here. So I appreciate the effort and the work and the dedication to helping end the generational ability of people to be in substandard living. Even in this county, which would probably possibly surprise some folks.
Probably would surprise people.
That think that there are folks who are not living in the greatest places out here. Or need something a little more permanent and multiple families and all that kind of stuff. So, no, I appreciate that and some of the work that you've done, and you as a person, just and the interactions that we've had, just great. It's been great.
You bet.
So that's what we have for Justice for All's Connections with Coffee. This is Kurt Franji with Habitat for Humanity, the Sioux County Director, if we're official. That's right?
Yep.
Sioux County Director. All things, that's what happens. People call in a JFA and they're like, hey, do you guys take windows or doors or all this? And I go you can talk to Kurt. That's usually what I do. I just pass that one right along to you.
And should I tell you to do something different? But I think one of the things that were misconceptions now that I feel, so initially when I started, and for the first few years, it was kind of more of like, I had a hard time breaking this stigma because JFA was doing spec houses as well. So people, that's where I think a lot of the confusion happened. And issues like, is this JFA or is this Habitat? And now that's changed. So that I don't get that hardly anymore. But more so, I'd say now it's the people think that Sioux County is separate Habitat from Sioux City,
but they're not separate,
and it's not. We're the same. We're all just we're one organization that has
Two branches, roughly.
No, I wouldn't even say no. It's we are one organization that serves. We have one service area. Okay. Sure, I'm located up here.
I got you.
But so that's
a 5-county service area.
It's a 5-county service area. Sioux is just one of them, and that's where I'm located out of, and that's what I oversee. But I'm no different than what's going on down in Sioux City. So even that's probably the biggest thing I fight, I would say, is people think that, are you separate from them down there? Or like, no, we're all one family. We're on the same side, the same team.
Yep.
So
no, it is probably helpful that we don't do spec houses anymore.
Yeah.
And so you don't get that question.
It isn't from that point angle. It's nice that I don't get that question.
I didn't feel like it fit necessarily. The funding side of it was nice, but the amount of work that it went into just was.
I would agree with you.
Didn't fit with the mission necessarily, and it was a lot of work for not as great a return or a question mark return. So, just a little side there. Yep. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. And this was Justice for All's Connections with Coffee. Kurt Franji from Habitat for Humanity. I'm Joel DeWitt, Executive Director of Justice for All. Thanks very much again, and God bless.